So I had no idea what was going on with the truck. I figured the batteries might be part of it. I figured the fuel, it might not be getting enough fuel. Maybe there was something with the fuel pump. I thought maybe it's the carburetor still needs to be adjusted. There's just a million different things that it could have been. And I knew if I was going to get this truck out of the driveway and have any hope of getting it to the car show, I was going to need some help. So I called in a friend of mine. So Friday night, him and I worked out a game plan, figured out what we needed to do, what the possible causes might be, and then first thing Saturday morning, we go out to the truck and start tackling things. One of the first things we do is we check, is the fuel pump actually running? Is the fuel pump actually pumping fuel? Are the batteries turning the truck over fast enough for it to start? Are the spark plugs actually sparking? We did find that the batteries were running a bit low. I had charged them the night before and they seemed to be doing the job. Adding on a truck with a set of jumper cables just to help jumpstart the truck really helped quite a bit. But it still just was trying to start, but just wasn't quite getting there. So we drain out all the old gas, and that's a problem with vehicles that sit around a lot and aren't driven super often. The gas just, eventually it goes bad. And I do buy ethanol-free gas because it does tend to last a lot longer. It sort of resists going bad. It doesn't go bad quite as quickly as the gas that has ethanol in it. But even still, over time, it does go bad. So we drained out all the old gas. I think the tank had like 10-20 gallons of just old gas in it, and a bunch of sludge at the bottom as well. So we kind of cleaned that out, put in a bunch of fresh gas, and sprayed out the carburetor, cleared all the fuel lines, did a whole bunch of stuff with the fuel, did a little bit more odds and ends, and we actually got it started. Nope, apparently not.
Let me turn the idle screw up on a little bit.
Yeah. Try the mixture first.
Mixture?
Yeah. So
do you want me to give it more?
I'm not sure.
Does it say in the book how many? Like sometimes you say you'll screw them in and then open them with the turn or turn it a quarter.
No, I don't remember seeing anything like that.
Okay, something.
Normally I just turn it until it sounds good. Normally I just turn it until it sounds good or worse.
Okay.
And there's two different mixture screws. Okay, I'm not touching the accelerator and it seems to be holding. Once we got it started, we adjusted the carburetor, and at this point we were in just let's get the truck out of here and get it back to my house mode. So as soon as it's started and it seems like it's running good, it's holding it idle. It sounds perfectly normal. Everything is fine. So we drive the truck home, and I'm driving the truck, and my cousin is following me in his pickup truck. Everything's going fine until I turn onto the last road before we get to my house, and I'm going up this little hill, and it just starts spitting and sputtering and just not wanting to do anything. And so I, put in the clutch, slow it down, and it just dies out on this hill in the middle of the road. So we're like, what do we do now? It's stalled out. So we pull it up onto flat ground, and we try to start it. And we also pull it off to the side so that traffic can get through. Of course, 3 out of the 5 cars that we passed by this entire time on that road happened to come right after the truck breaks down. I don't know. No cars on that road before, no cars after. Just right as I break down, all of a sudden there's people lining up waiting to get by. But after fiddling around with the carburetor some more, and I think jump starting it again, we did get the truck up and running, and we adjusted the carburetor some more, and it seemed to be doing really well. In fact, it seemed to be doing even better than it was before. So we don't waste the opportunity, and we're like, at the very least, we're going to get it to the hill so that we can at least coast down onto the yard. We'll figure out everything else after, but as long as it's on the farm property, we're fine. So the truck is actually running really well. It doesn't die out at the intersection near the farm, and I'm able to pull into the driveway, and everything's fine. It's still running. It's still idling perfectly fine. And so now that we've got it out of that garage's driveway, and again, they were really nice, really understanding. And once we got it back home, now we were starting to thinking, okay, do we want to try to take this truck to the car show tomorrow? Or do we want to cut our losses and, stay safe? Do we want to go double or nothing? I mean, the truck's running. Let's try going around the block. Maybe we got the carburetor finally fully tuned. All the problems are now taken care of. Everything's fine. It's going to be perfectly fine as long as I charge the batteries. I won't have any issues driving to the car show and back. So we drive around the block, and when I say around the block, I mean around a country block. Probably I went about 5 miles, just did a loop around some of the roads that happened to connect and just make a giant 5-mile circle. And the truck was running absolutely flawlessly the entire time. We're going up the hills, going down the hills, stopping at stop signs. It did not stall out once. It didn't sputter. It didn't have issues where it was pulling power, where it just felt like it didn't have the power. It was doing all the things perfectly fine. We get it back. We get it parked, and we're like, okay, all of our issues are solved. We are going to the car show tomorrow. So we make plans. to go to the car show tomorrow. Of course, there are a lot of logistical concerns driving to the show. Driving a couple miles down the road to go to this mechanic or driving around the block, if the truck does break down, we can work on it on the side of the road for a while, but even if all else fails, we can flat tow it back to the farm. We're not going too far. But the further you go, the less you want to end up being stranded on the side of the road. Now, luckily, my cousin does own a construction company, and so he has access to, heavy equipment, a dump truck, a trailer that can hold the truck. And so, the worst case scenario, the truck breaks down, we can load it up onto a trailer and bring it home, no problem, just mild inconvenience.